You know, I've always thought that the value of this job is that, you know, over the course of your life, you pick up all of your own stories, but doing a role like this, you also pick up lots of other people's too. And that feels like a really rich life, to be exposed to so much humanity. One of the ones that was probably the most difficult for me in the last few years, I responded to a crash in the middle of the day, and it was two cars that had hit head on. A gentleman had his niece and nephew in the car. Now, his niece and nephew weren't in restrained car seats, and his nephew flew through the front windscreen, and his niece was also significantly injured. I remember arriving on scene. It was in the middle of a beautiful sunny day, and there was just this scene of utter devastation. My role at the time was a sort of a triage, just to do our best, because it was very chaotic. And I remember that I was tasked with holding what was a 2-year-old young lady, and I needed to try my best to keep her safe and to calm her down so that we could make sure that she was okay. And only 2 or 3 meters away, there was her 3-year-old brother dying in front of us. There was a crowd of people around him working on him, paramedics, firefighters, police officers. Everybody was mucking in to help, to do their best, to do extraordinary things to try and save this young man. But sadly, with his sister in my arms, we watched him die. And what was difficult is, one of the ways we cope is by creating a bit of armor or a bit of distance, you know? We try to stay somewhat detached so that we can do our job. But when you've got a 2-year-old, you can't do that. To do right by her, I had to open myself up. I had to be in the moment so that she would feel calmed by my presence. And I was literally just rocking her back and forward. And I had a daughter. My daughter's now 6, but at the time she was about 3 years old. So it was very close to home for me, seeing young people, you know, tiny kids at that age, go through such distress, and seeing the impact it was having on a whole, you know, group of people. I'm actually what's known as a peer support officer. So that's another role that I take on as a voluntary capacity, as well as my paid job. And peer support officers are there to work amongst everybody, just be a peer, be a friend. And they're a great sort of first port of call, because really it's that team environment and that family that is the fire service that helps us all get through. We all go to each other when we struggle, and the more that we can be open and honest about how we struggle, the more normalized it is, and therefore generally the less impactful. It's so powerful when someone can say to you, hey, I've been there, or I've felt that, or I've seen others feel that. And it's been amazing work for me. I've followed people on their cancer diagnosis and recovery journey. I've followed people who were suicidal. I've sadly attended funerals of people who have died as a result of frontline deaths, and also that have died as a result of post-traumatic stress disorder and the injuries that that's caused them. A friend of mine who I'd known for over 10 years, about 2 years ago, came to me and said that they were really struggling to the point that they were suicidal. Having a relationship with that firefighter allowed me to quickly get them the right help, and they went on a 2-year recovery journey. But the thing that's difficult about this story is that they actually didn't end well. After 2 years of recovery and coming so far, sadly last year, at the end of last year in 2023, I attended their funeral. And that was as a secondary result of post-traumatic stress disorder. I think a lot of the advice is universal. It is all about reaching out. It's all about getting help as early as possible, and being strong enough to say you need help. Being strong enough to realize that everybody will need help at various points in their life. Life is not necessarily easy, and it can be more challenging for us for various reasons that are in our control and out of our control. But all of us can find a way to get that help and to have the best chance possible of getting through it successfully. And then the other bit of advice would be kind. You really genuinely never know what your friend is going through. You might have been friends throughout school, primary school, high school, think you know everything about them, but you don't realize the struggles they have on at home with their family, or the sudden thing that's happened over the weekend. So just do your best to be nice, to be that person that they're going to come to ask for that initial help, because that takes so much courage that you need to be pretty trustworthy for them to come to you. And the only way you build that trust is by showing up time and time again and being that kind person. To anyone who's struggling, you've got to remember you're not alone.